Blast me to Calamar's skull! It's time for the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. Issue 65, Part 1. Lore, Build Guide and Paint Guide. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Mad Merlins Warhammer 40,000 Imperium Journey. I'm Merlin and I'll be bringing you today's issue, which is issue 65. So before we get into things, don't forget to, of course, hit that like button on the video, subscribe to the channel if you don't subscribe already, and if you do, don't forget to tickle that bell icon so you get notified of all my mad content. Also, don't forget to leave a comment down below. It goes a great way to help the channel. And to help you add a comment, here is a question for today's video. Would any of you be interested in me reading any of the short stories that we have in Imperium? I've just finished reading 66's and it's quite a doozy. Really good story. We'll get into that when I get to issue 66. But let me know in the comment section down below if there's anything you want me, any future content you'd like to see. And also, of course, don't forget, if there's any feedback, it will be greatly appreciated. Right, moving on then, we've got issue 65 of Imperium, and we've got a nice hefty sprue here. So this is our command sprue, if you will, for all our Phobos stuff. We've got our issue, and we've got a fold out as well. So 65 comes with 7 miniatures, you see there. So we've got the Lieutenant, the Suppressor, Eliminator, and Infiltrator Sergeants. Infiltrator with medpack, infiltrator with comms, and a regular infiltrator there. Excuse me. So we've got build and paint guides, data sheets for the lieutenant, and we deploy the vanguard in a mission. Right then, let's go vertical. We'll take a look at our frame, then we'll have a look through the contents of the magazine. So here we have our frame, and it's frame A from the old Shadow Sphere box. Or the new Combat Patrol, of course, that includes this lot plus the Impulsor tank. So what do we get? We get, in the form of bases, 3 40mm bases, so for our Lieutenant, Eliminator and Suppressor. We of course don't have our flying stand at the moment, but that is on its way in issue 71, I believe. So I'm going to be using some of the spares in my Battle Sisters stuff. We also get 4 32mm bases. These are for the remaining infiltrator models. And then, of course, we get the frame itself. So, rather nice frame. Everything is neatly put together in a way that you can easily find components for each of the models. So here we've got the majority of our Lieutenant, with the only other little bits for him being his grav chute, I believe, which is there. Oh, no, that one there, sorry. That's the one for the suppressor. So there's a few other bits for the lieutenants up here. We've got 2 other infiltrators there, the other 2 there. Then we got our suppressor up here and our eliminator. As an extra bonus, we do get a few decorative elements to put on the bases of our larger models. So you can put these on the eliminators, the suppressors, and even the lieutenant. I don't believe it shows in the magazine, but it's a nice little added bonus to put on our models. But we have a good amount of components here, loads of details. So we've got the Sergeant's comm open up there, and he's directing his squad forward. We've got a guy with the unit's scanners, plenty of different bolt guns, some slung over shoulder, some held low. Got the lieutenant's head there, you got the suppressor's head there. Sorry, not suppressor, eliminator, there's the suppressor's head there. His smoke launchers, which is a very odd choice to have on a jump unit. But there we go, got some nice detail there. You can actually see the details on the cloak there. We've got like power nodes on how it works as an active camo. We've got the Sergeant's binoculars and all sorts of details there. So yeah, rather nice sprue. Can't wait to get these models built. And I'm going to be making use of the good weather at, not this weekend, it's technically last weekend, because I'm posting this on the Monday after I filmed it. After I'll be spraying, because I'm making use of the good weather. And yeah, so I'm filming this on the 14th, I believe it is today. No, 15th. So yeah, filming this on the 15th. It won't be posted until Monday the 20th, I think it is. Or 19th, possibly. I'm not very good at keeping track of dates without an advent calendar at the moment. But there we go. Some nice little models. Can't wait to build and paint these guys. Right then, let's take a look through issue 65. So here we have issue 65. And as we've already discovered, we have 7 new models in this issue. A build and paint guide for these models. Data sheets for our lieutenant, and we deploy in a new mission. So our full contents list is the battle record for our lieutenant. We learn about a couple of new heroes with Logan Grimnar and Ragnar Blackmane. Learn about Space Marine vehicles, and we have our fold out for Calmer's skull. Building and painting our Vanguard Marines. Lieutenant in Phobos armor, and opening the tomb, a new mission. So here we have our HQ battle record for our Lieutenant in Phobos armor, the Vanguard Battlefield Commander. Clad in Phobos armor, this Primaris Lieutenant fights amidst the Ultramarines Vanguard, leading lightning strikes upon the Necron foes. So we got a nice little quote there from a Lieutenant. So he's got grav shoots, paired combat blades, mastercrafted Oculus bolt gun as his war gear, and he also has the standard Mark X Phobos pattern armor there. So he's a Vanguard commander. He'll lead the Vanguard forces as they strike from the shadows at the enemies. So they operate and function in small forces. And like I said, they make a good use of hit and run tactics, attacking from behind enemy forces. So we've got his data record filled out. So we've got Rufius Castus, Paladin of the Company, and his heroic origins. Lieutenant hails from the warlike tribes of Espandor. Raised by hunters, his skills were put to the test when he was tasked of hunting down and capturing 3 colossal carnivore beasts. So we've also filled out his leadership style, which is a mastermind of ambush from cover, avoiding close combat. His bolt gun is Condemnation, and his knives are Foe Seeker and Leonis's Lament. Excuse me again. But got some nice tables here, so you can name your weapons yourself. We got these, which we roll from our tables on page 2, background 1. Background 1 and background 2. Sorry. Okie dokie, moving on then, we got Logan Grimnar, the Great Wolf. So, more than 6 centuries have passed since Logan Grimnar took command of the Space Wolves. Though age has gnarled his flesh and greyed his beard, he remains an aggressive and powerful warrior whose victories over the Imperium's many foes have earned him the respect and adoration of his allies. So this is a character from the Space Wolves chapter. Clad in hulking Terminator armor, Logan Grimnar bears with him the Axe of Morkai, which was once a demon blade forged by Khorne. He took it after slaying a Chaos Champion and got it reforged into the faces of Morkai, the Guardian Wolf at the gates of the Underworld. So, he's fought in many great battles, including that of Armageddon, where he rescued a priceless STC from orcs on Scrapspire. No Living Space Wolf bears his record and skill as a commander, except some of those were interred within dreadnoughts. And he's a really, really cool character. So, next up we got Ragnar Blackmane, the Black Wolf. Ragnar Blackmane is a furious hurricane of ceaseless violent energy who leads his great company, the Blackmanes, on endless campaigns. His howls are a challenge for any who dare face him and his roaring chainsword. So this is another Space Wolf character, and this time it's one of the younger Space Wolves. So Ragnar Blackmane is a pretty young, impetuous guy. He's led his company, known as the Blackmanes. He took his name from one of the great black-maned wolves that stalk the contents on Fenris. During his tests as a young space wolf, he encountered and slew one of these great beasts, killing it and hauling it back with his bare hands, hauling it back to the fortress monastery at the Fang. They were so impressed by him, he took the Blackmane as his name. He was also elected as one of the youngest commanders in Space Wolf history, giving him the title of the Young King. Over his many years, he's had many great campaign battles, and his most recent and deadliest of nemesis has been that of Ghazghkull Mag Uruk Thraka, where, despite beheading Ghazghkull, the orcs managed to stitch Ghazghkull's head back on. He then returned and battered the crap out of poor Ragnar, who had to cross the Rubicon Primaris in order to survive his wounds. And then the two will eventually, hopefully, hunt down each other again and fight in brutal combat. Also notes here of his massive chainsword known as Frostfang. Yeah. Moving on then, we got a bit of information about the Space Marine vehicles. So every Space Marine chapter possesses an armory filled with lethal vehicles, from armoured transports and battle tanks to monstrous walkers piloted by the withered remains of fallen heroes. Some have served their chapters for thousands of years. And here we have a nice shot of a beautiful Blood Angels Redemptor Dreadnought there, firing its Onslaught Gatling cannon, as other Space Marines around him advance, firing their guns. So, goes into detailing about all the different types of Space Marine vehicles, focusing mainly on this one, on some of the walkers. So we've got the Redemptor Dreadnoughts here, and we've also got the Invictor Warsuits. So, based around the Redemptor Dreadnought, the Invictor Warsuit is actually more of a exosuit, as it has a fully living operative, which pilots it. Whereas the Redemptor Dreadnought is more of a classic dreadnought, so it's got the sarcophagus, which has the remains of a battered and withered Space Marine hero, as it's mentioned. But either way, they are both awesome vehicles. The Invictor Warsuit is often seen fighting alongside those of the Vanguard Marines. So one of those would look quite nice with the models from this magazine. So next up we got our build guides. So we build first our Eliminator Sergeant, who's fairly easy to go together. Just a few components. Looks really cool. Then we got our Suppressor Sergeant there, with these autocannons. So we've got the legs, making sure you leave it to fully dry, otherwise they could end up falling off. I will probably be building mine the same as I've done my other one, leaving the arms separate at the moment until such a time as I finish painting it. And then we got our Lieutenant, who is, like I said, really easy there. So we got his backpack there. 2 halves of torso, his legs, head, backpack goes on, his knives, and then his arms. So it's fairly simple. And yeah, it isn't showing the optional extras, but I'm sure you can find a place for them to go. And then here we have our Infiltrators, so the Sergeant, our guy with the Smoke Grenade, Helix Adept, and our guy with his Omni Scrambler headgear. Alright, moving on then, finally, before we get on to our fold out, we have our how to paint section. So we will not be painting everything. To get your models up to this, follow the paint guide in issue 63. And then we'll be focusing on this issue on all the small unique details. So starting off, we're going to be picking out a lot of the guns and stuff with Abaddon Black, Lead Belcher and Mechanica Standard Grey, before washing it all with non-oil, then highlighting the black with Dawnstone and the silver with Stormhost Silver. Got a lovely paint guide here on how to do the binocular lens. So we start with Mephiston Red, non-oil, relayer 3/4 of it with Mephiston Red. Pick out the bottom corner and the edges with Evil Sun Scarlet. Even less of the corner with Troll Slayer Orange. And then finally we're picking out the very sharp corners and the very bottom corner there with an edge highlight of Uriel Yellow. So we get this nice gradient from red to yellow. That looks really cool. Definitely painting mine like that. Picking out all the Sergeant helmets, so you can follow the same guide for all of them. So Mephiston Red, Lead Belcher, non-oil, and then Evil Sun Scarlet. And then of course your Stormhost Silver for your silvers when you get there. Painting the flesh, so we've got Corax White on the skin, Baylor Brown on the hair, washing it all right on flesh shade, and then we're picking out the hair details with Uriel Yellow. So it's nice that we're finally getting around to using Uriel Yellow, even though we had it a long time ago. So we got the smoke grenade there, picking out the smoke with Mechanica Standard Grey, non-oil, Dawnstone, and Administratum Grey. Picking out all your different knives and other metal details again. Picking out the sheaths with Mournfang Brown, Retributor Armor, before highlighting with Baylor Brown, Stormhost Silver. Then we're picking out the control panels and such on Lieutenant there. Got the goggles on the Lieutenant and the Infiltrators. A warning here to make sure you fix your errors before progressing with other bits. Then we've got the Helix Adept satchel here, so you can follow the same detail for the satchel for his gauntlet as well. But it shows it here as black, but really it could be nice looking as a white gauntlet. Just to help tie in more to that apothecary theme. But there's our completed models. All looks quite nice. And again, it goes back to issue 63 to bring your models up to the standard before you paint anything else. But all of them look really good. Right. So let's have a look then at our fold out. And then that will be issue 65 complete. So here we have the fold out for our Warzone, which is focusing on Kalmar's skull. A climactic battle of the War of Ramesses will be waged on the mountainous dead world. The battles to follow will be bloody indeed. So this is much like our other foldouts, focuses on the forces at work here. So we've got the elite of the Necrons, so we've got the Destroyer elite in the form of a Locust Heavy Destroyer. And we also have a brand new Overlord, this time upon his Catacomb Command Barge. So, lovely map here of Kalmar's skull itself, plus the various different locations and areas where we're fighting. So this is the seat of the Zarak dynasty, so it's a very prominent world. It's been a Necron world for long before the Imperium arrived and stripped the surface for materials. But the Necrons are planning on taking it back. And finally then, I'll look at Imperial forces. So we have Rabute Gilliman, who is finally reaching the Nephilim sector and able to lead his forces in a brutal conflict. And he's also bringing with him some extra firepower from the Ultramarines Fortress Monastery on Macragge, with the form of the ATV and the Firestrike server turret there. So a really good read all in all. Right. That's it then for issue 65. So I'm going to go and build these guys and, like I said, paint these guys up, which should be done before I film my next part. So I'll definitely be able to use the Lieutenant and 5 guys in part 2 of this video, which will be 65's battle report. So all what's left for me to do is to say thank you all for watching. So if you think I deserve it, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you don't subscribe already, and of course I will see you next time for more mad content. Goodbye.